Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Cal Royal number SH-3558R, 3.5 by 3.5 single acting, full mortise, residential weight, steel based spring hinge. That's what it is. This is an SH from Cal Royal, a spring hinge. The -35 is a reference to the size. It's 3.5 inches tall. The leaf is, and 3.5 inches wide. The 5/8R is a reference to the 5/8 radius corner. Very typical sort of corner that you're going to see in residential sorts of installations. The purpose or the reasoning for that is when you have a 5/8 radius, that means you have an 1.25 inch diameter, and that's the size of the router bit that they use when the door manufacturer or the shop, the wood shop, the door shop is routing for these. Now that 1.25 inch diameter will leave this 5/8 radius, and they're really making just one pass, in the door. Well, one pass in and then up, and it's done. There's not a lot of prep to do. They don't have to go back and square any corners, so that's why you're going to see this. I like this 5/8 radius. It's nice, clean, and gradual from Cal Royal. I've seen other hinges where it's not truly 5/8 radius. It's a bit odd. Not that that's a big deal, but I appreciate how proper theirs looks, is what I'm trying to say. This is shown in the satin chrome or 26D finish. 26D, while doesn't infer anything other than the finish, it'd be proper to call this 652. That would mean that it's both steel base and satin chrome finish. So US 26D certainly infers that. There is a link below this video to a document called Template, and that is a handy document because it allows you to review all of the dimensional properties of the hinge, namely the location of the screws, which is what we would term template. That's the standard pattern. If it's a 3.5 inch hinge, it's probably an 1 3/8 door. So keep that in mind. It could be, I've seen 3.5 inch hinges on 1 3/4 doors as well, but that's very uncommon. So 1 3/8 where you would use this would be, you're going to have, let's say, the spare bedroom in the house. No one's ever there unless there's company, and you just simply want to keep that door closed. No reason to heat it at full blast all winter long. Let the door be closed. This hinge allows you to do that. Same with a garage door. You could certainly have an 1 3/4 garage door, and you want that door to close behind you. There it is, spring hinge. There is a link below that template to a document called Installation and Usage Guide. Now that's handy, and it brings us to the rest of this video. And it's also on the box if your order comes in a box. It may not. That Installation and Usage Guide does that. Shows you how to install the hinge, namely how to set the tension. Also gives you a guideline by which to consider the spring hinge in your application. So first of all, the installation is going to be accomplished with, this hinge is odd. It has two ways to set your tension. It will give you a long tension rod, as you can see here. I can poke that out of the package, and when the tension collar, you'll notice that this collar has holes and this doesn't. When the tension collar is pointed towards the top of the door, you can rotate that clockwise, and as you rotate it clockwise, new holes are revealed. It's into one of those new holes that you would insert a tension pin. Now this hinge is odd, I had said earlier, because it features the Allen wrench method as well, which inserts into the top collar and gives you the same sort of ability to set the tension on the hinge. You insert that in there, you turn it clockwise, and you're good to go. Why it's both, I don't know. It could be a patent sort of issue. There are some manufacturers that have only this. There are others that have only this. So they have both. I'm thinking it's, just a way to skirt that. It's a total guess. I don't know. Maybe they were first. Who knows? Tension collar goes up. It can go pointed down too. You're just going to rotate it counterclockwise. But it's non-handed. You can install this on either left hand or on right hand doors. The situation is the same. After you obviously get the hinge attached to the door hung, you would then set your tension. Be gingerly, maybe go 1 or 2 holes at the beginning at the most. and just test your operation. Now, getting to that recommended guide below shows you, based on the hinge size and then the weight of the door, how many hinges you should expect to have, spring hinges installed. So maximum 3 foot by 7 foot, that's first of all. We're in the 3.5-inch column. You can see you've got 50-pound doors, 70-pound doors, and 90-pound doors. You're going to go over to the right, and you're just going to see you're either going to have 2 spring hinges or 3, never 1, by the way. And then a butt hinge, regular plain bearing, although ball bearing would be the recommended choice. You can mix and match this with a common 3.5-inch hinge because the vertical axis of pivoting is compliant. There won't be a problem with that. Now, how many of these should you use? You should use all 3. That's the bottom line. If you have 3, you should have 3. If there are 4 hinges prepped on the door, and there could be, make them all. Maybe 4 might be excessive. Here's the reasoning. First of all, it's not for the obvious reason. These are inexpensive hinges. They don't cost very much. But what you'll end up finding out is when you have more spring power on reserve, you will accomplish a more predictable, reliable, and even controllable sort of closing cycle over the door in comparison to when you have less spring tension. You might have a hollow core door, and quite frankly, 1 hinge really is all you need because the door weighs 22 pounds. The fact of the matter is this: when you've got that door open at 90 degrees, you have lots of stored energy. When that door is down here at about 10 degrees, there's all but no stored energy left. You need to have that door not only closed, but presumably you want it to latch as well. When you double the hinge, or even increase that by another factor of 50%, you have more stored energy at that critical closing cycle. You have more ability via torque, like a tugboat. They don't go very fast, but they pull a lot of weight. And when you've got more spring hinges down there, you can control the speed by which the door closes, meaning you don't have to set it so high that it slams. So you can get it closing a little bit more controllably and still have enough stored energy to get that door to latch without slamming, without opening the door to the point where you've got it set so high that you are just trying to build inertia in the door to get it to overcome the size of the door. You know, if it's a 3 foot by 6 foot 8, you've got 20 square feet there of surface area. It's got to overcome all that air pressure, the weight of the door, the air pressure, the resistance of the latch bolt hitting the strike plate. If it's a fire-rated door, which it certainly could be, that would not be common for a 3.5-inch hinge, but you've got 2 obligations. That needs to be self-closing, but it needs to be self-latching as well. And if it's not self-latching, then it's technically not a fire door. So word to the wise, you will also find more spring tension on reserve is better when you have a changing of seasons. You're going to have different settings on a spring hinge in the summer than you do the winter. Different barometric pressures, different conditions in the building. You could constantly have windows open in the summertime and that door is just going to wham because the air is racing right through it. That kind of thing. I've installed these, I've maintained these, I've reset these, I've specified them, I've troubleshot them. I find more is better than less because you can always just set that tension low on the one should it not be needed. There, I do not see a maximum on the amount of holes to be adjusted on here at all, but I would not exceed 3. You might be able to, if you hear any creaking or cracking when you open the door, that's the spring twisting outside of its normal coiled shape. You're going to want to back that off. You can get in there with a little bit of graphite or a little bit of lubricant and lubricate that. That is just a steel spring in there. There will be, over time, a little need for doing that. Don't hesitate to worry about doing that. That won't damage the hinge in any way. Below this video, other than those 2 links, is just the facts and figures, the bullet points about the hinge, which we've already covered. Screws are included. You'll get machine screws and wood screws with this in a complementary finish. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up the full line product catalog and review all things Cal Royal hardware related. Door closers, exit devices, lock sets, hinges, obviously. A comprehensive and ever-growing broad spectrum of both commercial and residential hardware. If you have any questions on the Cal Royal SH-3558 3.5-inch spring hinge, and it's available in all the common finishes, your brasses, your bronze, your chromes, or any other Cal Royal product, please feel free to reach out to us.